magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic. Monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic. Hey up. Right, I've had an absolutely whale of a time on this bike today. When you first get on this bike, it all feels very small. Actually, it's a very natural riding position, but it all feels very small. The main thing that you've got to consider with the monkey bike is that it's got handling which is of almost surgical precision. At first, you know, you've got a short wheelbase, tiny wheels, and at first it feels twitchy and a little bit unstable until you realise that it's not like a full-size bike, in that there's actually very little rider input required to make the bike do what you want it to do. So initially you're putting too much effort in, and that's what makes it feel a little bit twitchy and unpredictable. As soon as you get your head around that, it's an absolute dream to ride. Now, riding in traffic definitely is one of its best attributes. That's where this bike really excels. But out on these unclassified farm tracks and B roads that I've been on this afternoon, this bike has amazed me. Quite often I'll try and see if I can get some shots of it, because there's a lot of heavy agricultural machinery travelling up and down these roads, which basically take up the whole width of the road. The sides of the road tend to collapse, and you get sort of a spine down the middle of the road where the sides break away from it, and you end up with quite a difference in height where these cracks are. On all my other bikes, you have to be really careful on these roads, because, you know, when you sort of hit those breaks or cracks in the road, which you do from time to time, you try not to, but you can't avoid it, the bike will tip. Not particularly dangerous, but it does catch you out from time to time. I actually found with this, and I think it's down to the width of the tyres, it doesn't seem to affect it. The bike just tiptoes over them and it just keeps a straight line. I know these roads like the back of my hand, every bump, every pothole. I've been riding bikes on these roads for over 40 years. I spent my whole youth in this area. And those imperfections really complicate all the twists and turns on what are essentially farm tracks. What surprised me about the Monkey at any given speed, because, you know, even on my big road going bikes, you can't get much beyond 50 miles an hour safely, and most of the time they don't feel safe. But the Monkey is actually far more accomplished. It feels much more stable and safer on these roads than any of my larger bikes, which, as like I say, it just really surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. I thought those little 12-inch wheels would be a liability on road surfaces like this, but it actually turned out that this bike is far more accomplished on these roads than any of my larger roadsters. I even found myself purposely riding along these chasms of doom on these roads to try and make the bike misbehave. The Monkey just behaved impeccably throughout. In fact, the suspension on the Monkey bike is one of its best attributes. You've got plenty of suspension travel, and there are times when the back end does feel really busy in that, you know, you can feel that the rear shocks are having to work very hard. But with these semi-balloon tyres and the incredibly thick seat, although you can feel you're going over some really nasty terrain, everything feels sort of cushioned and safe. It's a brilliant bike for riding on rough ground. It's perfect for, you know, cobbled streets, rough urban roads and nasty countryside farm tracks. Now there's no rev counter on the Monkey bike, so I've actually got no idea what the engine's doing most of the time. You have to rely on feel and sound, but it never feels like it's strained, even at the terminal speed. The fastest I've managed to go so far is 58 miles an hour. Even at terminal speed, the engine feels quite relaxed. It's not revving its nuts off. It's mated to a 5-speed gearbox, which seems quite evenly spaced after second gear. First 2 gears are quite close together to allow for, you know, fast acceleration at junctions and in traffic. After that, the gears are much more leisurely. I've found that at sort of 40 to 45 miles an hour is its happiest place, and at those speeds you can leave it in top gear, and even a hill at 45 miles an hour doesn't seem to bring the speed down much. You know, a little bit more throttle is all that's required. The bike doesn't run out of puff. Now, if you're riding in very hilly areas like, you know, the Yorkshire Dales or the Lake District springs to mind for me, you are going to have to work the gearbox, but it's a 125, that's to be expected. Having said that, the bike's quite happily to trundle along at 30 miles an hour in top gear. You know, it is primarily designed, I suppose, as an urban commuter. And in that respect, it'll quite happily trundle along at 30 miles an hour in top gear, and then you've got a sedate sort of acceleration from there. There's no need to change down. It'll pull away from 30 miles an hour in top gear, no problem at all. It just doesn't do it fast. Commuter traffic is exactly where this bike feels at home. What did surprise me, although the the riding position initially feels a little bit strange because you don't feel like you've got much underneath you, you soon get used to what is actually a very natural and normal riding position. Now, in heavy traffic, you would think that you would feel a bit overwhelmed with the size of the bike, but actually you don't. It easily keeps up with traffic up to 40 miles an hour. It's perfect for a daily commute. It's very nimble and agile. It whips up to 40 miles an hour in no time at all. Easily keeps up with the traffic. I think the trick is just to keep back from big vehicles a little bit and make sure that you can see their wing mirrors so that they can see you. The clutch is pretty light with a very predictable rev bite point. The gearbox is very smooth and precise. I didn't encounter a single false neutral, and certainly when you're crashing down through the gears to come to an abrupt stop, no issues whatsoever. It didn't get snarled up. Clutch and gear operation are very sweet and light. Also, the brakes are well up to the task. I think this bike only weighs 106, 107 kilograms, something like that. No dramas or cause for concern whatsoever. The biggest thing I've noticed whilst riding in built-up areas is pedestrians, car drivers, everybody that sees you just out of the corner of your eye, they instantly just start smiling when they see this big burly guy riding by on a very small motorcycle. It brings a smile to everybody's face. And you know, I've read 1 or 2 reviews about this bike in the past, and I think a lot of them completely miss the point, because the Monkey is not about performance, cornering and handling. It's about how it makes you feel, and it makes you feel great. It makes everybody else around you feel great. I've packed up twice, and on both occasions couples have been walking past and they instantly laugh when they see you getting off the bike. And on both occasions, the conversation was exactly the same. The guy wanted one. The wife told him he couldn't have one because he doesn't have a garage or a shed to put it in. When I said it doesn't matter because it's so small and light you can put it in your house, that didn't seem to make matters any better. But you know, there's no doubt about it, the personality of this bike really shines to everyone that sees it. People always want to categorise these bikes. You know, they want to put them in a pigeonhole. Any motorcycle, you know, it's a bike for beginners, for learners, it's a bike for commuting, it's a bike for touring. Actually, the Monkey 125 is a pretty good all-rounder in my opinion. It's fantastic for commuting. If you just want to go for a day out in the countryside on these sort of roads, B roads, even A roads, it acquits itself really well. It's a really flexible motor and a flexible motorcycle. I've even seen guys touring all around Europe and all around the British Isles on these bikes, which must be an absolute hoot, providing you can find a decent luggage solution. They just don't do it fast, but they will serve you well as a tourer. Now, I know I'll probably get a lot of people asking me about motorway work. Obviously, this isn't a bike that's going to be great on the motorway. It is road legal on a motorway, but you're going to be stuck at around a safe, comfortable cruising speed, I think, of 50 miles an hour. So it's not rocket science. Stay in the inside lane and don't try to overtake anything, and you should be fine. One thing that you do have to remember, of course, with the Monkey bike, although it's a really complete bike right out of the box, there's a huge selection of accessories from third-party manufacturers that allow you to do just about whatever you want with this bike, whether it's putting a louder exhaust on that allows the bike to breathe a little bit better, improve your suspension, you know, you name it, there's somebody out there making a part for these bikes, which I think for any motorcyclist that likes to tinker is an absolute dream. You can spend as much or as little money as you want accessorising these bikes. I found ever since I got this bike, I don't know whether you remember it, the Water Margin, a Japanese sort of light-hearted comedy martial arts adventure program, which was shown in the 1970s, and the main star of that particular series was Monkey, and there's a great song that goes with it, and that song's like an earworm. Monkey Magic, it's just been ringing around in my head all the time while I've been riding this bike, because this Monkey is magic. It's a brilliant bike. And to quote the lyrics from that song by Godigo in 1979, what a cocky, saucy monkey this one is. That sums up the Honda Monkey 125. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. There are, of course, other ways that you can help this channel out via my Patreon page or through PayPal donations, or you can just use the super thanks button down below. Either way, it's much appreciated. I will, of course, be back next week, so until then, ride safely, and I'll see you soon. Monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic, monkey magic.